The Empath's Midlife Awakening. From Overwhelm to Wisdom. Do you know this feeling? The profound, bone-deep exhaustion that has nothing to do with a lack of sleep. It's the weight of a dozen conversations you overheard, the sorrow of a friend's bad news that now lives in your chest, the unspoken tension in a room that screams in your mind long after you've left. For years, perhaps your entire life, you've been told you're too sensitive, that you feel too much, and now, here in midlife, the world hasn't gotten quieter, it's only grown louder. The accumulation of decades of feeling everything, from everyone, has left you feeling invisible in your own life. You've become a ghost, haunting the edges of other people's stories. Your very being is like a great, old lighthouse, standing on a rocky shore. For as long as you can remember, your sole purpose has been to cast a powerful, unwavering beam of light out into the tumultuous sea, guiding lost ships through storms, illuminating the way for others to find their safe harbor. You feel their panic in the churning waves, their fear in the howling wind. You absorb the chaos of the ocean, night after night. But in all your years of tending the light for others, have you ever gone down to check your own foundations? Have you noticed the cracks forming in the stone, worn down not by your own storms, but by the relentless crash of 1,000 outside tempests? The salt of other people's tears has eroded your walls, the winds of their anxieties have rattled your windows, and you, the keeper, are so busy polishing the great lamp that you haven't realized the ground beneath your feet has begun to crumble. For the next 25 minutes, we are going to stop tending the light and walk down into the foundation of your lighthouse. This is not a video to passively scroll through while your mind is elsewhere. This is a workshop, a journey of reclamation. We will inspect the cracks, honor the storms you've weathered, and begin the sacred work of repair. If you are ready to finally tend to your own shore, to learn that your greatest sensitivity is not a liability but the source of your most profound power, consider hitting subscribe as your first pledge to yourself, your first declaration that this lighthouse is worth saving. We will complete this journey together. Let's take a breath. Not a shallow one. A deep, foundational breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, imagine you can hear the distant, constant roar of the sea. That is the sound of the world you've been navigating. It's always there. We're not trying to silence it, we are learning to live with it, from a place of strength, not servitude. Let's begin our descent down the winding stone staircase of your lighthouse. Each step is a year, a memory, a moment you took on an emotion that wasn't yours. Feel the cool, damp stone under your fingertips. This is your history. For too long, you've been living at the very top, in the lantern room, hyper-focused on the outside world. But the truth of your power, the source of your resilience, is down here, in the dark, in the base. The first archetype we meet down here in the foundational chamber is the one you know most intimately, the wounded healer. The great psychologist Carl Jung first gave us this name, describing those whose personal suffering equips them with a profound capacity to help others. As an empath, this has been your unconscious role for decades. You see a wound in someone, and you recognize it, because a version of it lives inside you. You've spent years absorbing others' pain, acting as an emotional sponge, believing this was your purpose. But the midlife wounded healer undergoes a critical transformation. This is where your healing integrates. You see, the unintegrated wounded healer bleeds on everyone they are trying to help. They heal from a place of their own trauma, but you are no longer there. Here, in the quiet of your own foundation, you begin to see that your past wounds are not open sores, they are scars, and scars tell a story of survival. They are proof that healing is possible. I want you to think of a time recently when you felt compelled to fix someone's pain. Did you take it on? Did it drain you? Let that memory surface. Now, see it from the perspective of the integrated wounded healer. Your role is not to stop their bleeding. It is to show them your scars and say, I know this hurts, but I also know that this is survivable. This shift is monumental. It is the beginning of setting a boundary not of rejection, but of profound respect for their journey and for your own energy. You move from unconsciously carrying their burdens to consciously using your wisdom. You leverage your deep understanding of suffering not to absorb it, but to illuminate it, offering guidance without becoming depleted. This is the first stone we lay in our repair, grounding your empathy in truth, not in shared trauma. You are not a vessel for their pain. You are a testament to the healing of your own. As we move deeper into the base of the lighthouse, we find a small, quiet room, shielded from the roar of the ocean. The air here is still. This is the domain of our second archetype, the seeker of inner sanctuary. For an empath, the midlife quest for purpose is often, more accurately, a quest for peace. A quest for a sustainable way to exist in a loud world. You have been so exposed for so long. Your nervous system is a raw, open frontier. This archetype represents the urgent, non-negotiable need to build internal and external spaces of quiet. It is the part of you that is finally giving itself permission to retreat. For years, you might have felt guilty for needing solitude. You may have seen it as selfish or antisocial. But the seeker of inner sanctuary understands it as a vital necessity, as essential as air. Look around this quiet room in your mind. What does it contain? Perhaps a comfortable chair. A window looking out not at the chaotic sea, but at a calm, hidden cove. Books filled with wisdom that nourishes you. The silence here is a balm. This is where you learn the sacred art of discernment. As you sit here, you begin to untangle the knotted threads of emotion you carry. Let's do this now. Take another deep breath. As you inhale, ask yourself, of all the feelings I am holding right now, the anxiety, the sadness, the pressure, how much of it is truly mine? And as you exhale, visualize releasing the energy that belongs to others. Let it drift out of this room like smoke, returning to the sea where it belongs. This practice, this creation of sanctuary, is not an escape from the world. It is the very thing that allows you to engage with the world without being destroyed by it. The seeker of inner sanctuary doesn't just find purpose, they build a sustainable home for that purpose to live within. They design their life, their home, their relationships, to support their sensitive nature, finally learning that the most compassionate act is to first protect the wellspring of your own compassion. From this place of inner quiet, a new capacity emerges. We ascend from the foundation, back up the staircase, but we stop halfway. Here, there are windows looking out onto the land, not just the sea. From this vantage point, we see the intricate web of pathways, connecting the lighthouse to the nearby village, the forests, the world of people. This is the realm of the wise weaver of connections. In your youth, your empathy might have manifested as a desperate need to please people. You became a chameleon, changing your colors to match the emotional needs of whomever you were with. It was a survival mechanism. But the wise weaver of connections, the midlife evolution of this tendency, is different. This archetype is not a people pleaser. They are a relationship builder, and they do so with intention and wisdom. Your innate ability to feel and understand others is now your tool, not your trap. You no longer build flimsy bridges to everyone, hoping they won't collapse. Instead, you carefully, artfully, weave strong, resilient tapestries of connection with those who honor your energy. You can see the bigger picture. You understand that a true connection is not about you fixing them or them validating you. It is about mutual respect and genuine energetic exchange. The wise weaver knows which threads to pick up and which to leave alone. They can feel the difference between someone who genuinely wants to connect and someone who just wants to drain their resources. Think about your relationships. Are they bridges or are they tapestries? A bridge is purely functional, for getting from one place to another. A tapestry is a work of art, beautiful and strong, woven with care. The wise weaver stops building bridges of convenience and starts weaving tapestries of meaning. They act as a compassionate hub, a connector of people and ideas, sharing wisdom gained from a lifetime of profound emotional experience, but only where that wisdom will be valued. This archetype teaches you to use your empathic gift, not to lose yourself in others, but to find the right others to build a beautiful, supportive world with. Many people think that healing or mastering their empathy means they will never feel overwhelmed again. This is one of the most pervasive misconceptions. It's like believing that if you become a skilled sailor, you will never encounter another storm. That's not the goal. The storm will always come. The ocean is, by its nature, wild and unpredictable. Healing, for an empath, is not about calming the storm. It is about becoming such a master of your vessel, your lighthouse, that you can remain steady and keep your light on, no matter how fiercely the wind blows. It is the profound, unshakable knowledge that the storm is happening around you, not to you. Your job as the lighthouse keeper is not to stop the waves for every struggling ship. Your job is to keep your own light steady, a fixed point of truth in the chaos, so that they can navigate their own storm. This realization changes everything. It releases you from a burden you were never meant to carry. The world will storm. Your task is simply to stand, to shine. Now, let's climb higher, to the workshop of the lighthouse. Here, amongst the gears and lenses, we discover the alchemist of emotion. This archetype is a beautiful fusion of the creator and the healer. For so long, you were a silent sponge, passively absorbing the emotional tides of the world. You held it all inside, and the pressure built until you felt you might crack. The alchemist learns a different way. They understand that emotion is energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. This is where your sensitivity becomes your superpower. Instead of being drowned by the wave of collective sorrow or anxiety, the alchemist learns to surf it. They take the raw, chaotic energy of the emotions they feel, and they channel it. They turn it into something tangible, something beautiful, something useful. Think of the immense power in a crashing wave. An untrained person sees only destruction. The alchemist sees a source of power. They build a turbine. They harness that raw force and use it to power the great lamp of the lighthouse. How can you become an alchemist? When you feel that surge of overwhelming emotion, be it your own or someone else's, instead of letting it swamp you, ask a new question. What does this energy want to become? Does this anger want to become a passionate letter to an editor? Does this sorrow want to become a poem, a painting, a melody? Does this frustration with injustice want to become volunteer work, a call to action? The alchemist of emotion actively works with their sensitivity. They are imaginative, innovative. They use their deep well of feeling as a spring for creating positive change, not just for others, but for their own soul. This is how you stop being a victim of the emotional sea and become a creative partner with it. It's the difference between being tossed in the surf and being a skilled sailor who harnesses the wind. I invite you now, just for a moment, to consider an emotion that has been troubling you this week. Don't push it away. Look at it. Feel its energy. Now, what is one small, creative act you could perform to give that energy a voice, a form, a purpose beyond simply existing inside you? That is your first step as an alchemist. We are nearing the top of the lighthouse now. Just below the lantern room is the keeper's private study. The door to this room used to be locked. You were afraid of what was inside. But now, with the wisdom you've gathered, you turn the key. This is the home of the authentic rebel. The rebel archetype isn't about mindless destruction. It's about the courageous reclamation of truth. As an empath, you spent the first half of your life conforming. You suppressed your own needs, your own truths, your own desires, to accommodate the emotional needs of everyone around you. You made yourself small to make others comfortable. The authentic rebel, born in the crucible of midlife, says, "No more." This rebellion is not loud or violent. It is a quiet, powerful, internal revolution. It is the conscious, deliberate choice to live in alignment with your own soul, even if it makes other people uncomfortable. The authentic rebel sets the strongest boundaries of all. They speak their truth with compassion, but without apology. They prioritize their own well-being without guilt. They finally understand that their first responsibility is to the integrity of their own lighthouse. If the keeper is exhausted and sick, the light goes out, and everyone suffers. Therefore, tending to the keeper is the most selfless act of all. The rebellion is against the old programming that told you your worth was determined by how much you could give, how much you could carry for others. The authentic rebel knows your worth is inherent. It is not up for negotiation. This involves a profound grief process. You must grieve the person you pretended to be for so long. You must allow yourself to feel the anger for the times you abandoned yourself. I once spoke with a woman who described her empathic nature as being a human sponge. For 40 years, she had soaked up every spill, every mess, every tear around her. In her midlife awakening, she had a powerful realization. Her purpose was not to absorb the entire ocean. Her purpose was to become a cup that holds its own shape, that can be filled with clean, life-giving water, and can then offer a single, intentional drink to those who are truly thirsty, without losing itself in the process. That is the shift from sponge to cup. That is the journey of the authentic rebel. It is the most profound act of self-love, reclaiming your own sacred vessel. So here we are. We have journeyed through the depths and heights of your inner world, this lighthouse of the self. We have met the wounded healer who turns scars into wisdom, the seeker of inner sanctuary who builds peace from the inside out, the wise weaver who creates tapestries of true connection, the alchemist who transforms emotional chaos into creative power, and the authentic rebel who reclaims the truth of who you are. These are not separate people. They are all facets of you, the empath sage that you are becoming in this powerful midlife transformation. They are the team you need to not just survive, but to thrive. We now ascend the final few steps into the lantern room, the heart of the lighthouse. For years, you stood here, frantically polishing the glass, aiming the beam, exhausted by the constant vigilance. But look now. The work we have done in the foundation has changed everything. The light is different. It is brighter, steadier, powered not by frantic effort, but by a deep, sustainable energy source. The alchemist is harnessing the storm. The foundations, reinforced by the wounded healer's wisdom and the rebel's truth, are solid. The keeper can rest in the inner sanctuary. The wise weaver ensures the light connects with those who truly need it. It all works together. And here comes the dawn. The great, churning, chaotic sea of the night begins to calm. The sky softens. And in the first light of this new day, you have the great aha moment. The breakthrough. You realize the goal was never to stop the storms. The goal was never to fix every ship in the sea. The key to mastering your empathic nature wasn't something you had to find or earn. It was the realization that the lighthouse was never a prison sentence condemning you to a life of service. It was a gift. It is the source of your sight, your perspective, your power. The great lamp wasn't just for others. It was always meant to illuminate your own shore, so you could finally see the beauty of your own landscape, the strength of your own ground. The door was never locked. You were just standing guard outside it for so long, you forgot all you had to do was turn the handle and walk into your own power. From this day forward, let your self-care be an act of devotion to this sacred structure. It is not selfish, it is essential maintenance. Every moment of quiet you claim is like checking the foundations. Every boundary you set is like reinforcing the walls. Every creative act is like upgrading the lamp. Don't banish the feelings that come. Don't curse the storm. Next time the waves of overwhelm begin to crash against your shore, stand in your lantern room, place a hand on your heart, and say to it, I see you, I feel you. Thank you for showing me what is happening in the world. But I am safe here in my tower. My light is on. And I am not responsible for calming the sea. Your actions today are not to prove you are worthy of peace. Your actions are an affirmation that you already are. Step out from the lantern room, onto the narrow balcony that encircles it. Feel the cool, clean morning air. The sea is vast. The ships will always come and go, with their own stories, their own storms, their own destinations. But your light is constant. It is true. It is yours. Let it shine. And in its glow, you can see the path that leads from the lighthouse door across the beautiful, wild landscape of your one precious life. Your work awaits, your joy awaits, and most importantly, you await yourself.